Oh, ho, ho, ho. Sorry about that. Whoa. Okay. Hey, happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. It's great to see you. What a race. Hold on one second. I'm going to do one little thing here. Having some logistical troubles. Stay with me for just a second. Okay. Okay. Might be good. I am back. I am back. I've altered things, and it is time to say, cheers, my dears. Happy Friday. Welcome back to cocktail night. I was in a dither 1 second ago and I am ready to settle down and have a nice night. Cheryl, happy Friday night. It's great to see you. Welcome back. Cheers, my dears. I'm actually drinking a beverage tonight. It is a Sam Adam Harvest Hellas. Hellas, is that the, Hellas? I don't know this word, but it's one of the variety packs that I got for our welcome home new house picnic last week, and this is one of the ones I didn't have, and it is very nice. We have a guest in our house tonight. We have our first sleepover guest. I think they'll come through later to say hello to us. Teddy's friend August is here, Augie. So I'm hoping that they make a guest appearance later. But we were just sitting on the porch having a barbecue and catching up with Augie. And I realized it was, oh my God, it was time to go. Sorry about that. Cheryl, great to see you. Welcome back after a beautiful beach day. Which beach did you go to? You know, I don't know the ones down by you as well. I know the ones further along from like Nauset Beach up to P-Town. I wonder which one you went to because we have gone to a few down that way. Oh, I bet it was a beautiful beach day over on the Cape. Catherine, great to see you. Cheers, my dears. Mm-mm-mm. Still summer there in Southern California. They're saying this year that we're going to have not a good fall foliage season because, it's been quite an Indian summer as I mop my brow. But already I'm seeing a lot of color on the trees. It is really striking for this early in the season. I'm not sure what we're getting, but it's going to be beautiful. Melissa, cheers, my dears. Great to see you. I love the projects you've been working on. I love the girl in the coffin. That has been so fun to watch. Kirsten, cheers, my dears. Okay, I'm gonna do one too. I just stuffed a hamburger in my mouth and I really am thirsty. Great to see you. You're only here for a moment. Well, you know what? I'm going to be seeing Kirsten tomorrow. Let me remind you, this weekend, tomorrow and Sunday, is the Adirondack Fiber Festival in Greenwich, New York. Right? Because there's a Greenwich, Connecticut that's quite famous. Nope. This is Greenwich, New York, the Adirondack Fiber Festival. Kirsten and I will be there. Sharon, you're going to be there too. Is anybody else in that area who plans to be there? Because we should link up, at least take a photo or something, right? And spend some time together. I would love to know if you're going to be there as well. We can make it work. I'm leaving at like the crack of dawn because I've got like at least a 2.5 hour ride, if not more. So I want to be there when it opens, I think at 10. So I'm going to leave at 7, which isn't the crack of dawn, really. I'm probably going to leave at 6:30 because I will have a coffee, stop to go to the bathroom, have a coffee, stop to go to the bathroom, maybe have another coffee. Yes. And it takes some time. It takes some time to get there. Dave, great to so let me know if anybody that we don't know is going yet will be there because I would love to see you. I'm gonna because I'm gonna go to at least 3 of the fiber festivals this year. This one, the one at the Big E in Springfield, Mass, the New England one, and I'll go to Rhinebeck as well. So I know I'm going to at least 3. And when I go there, love to see the sheep and all that stuff. But because it's a long ride, hardcore shopping stalls for me. I want to see what they've got going. I want to see who's got chaotic silk, who's got bat and roving that I might be interested in. I'm feeling the natural dyes right now too. So I've been looking at the over 100 vendors that will be there, and they're all quite different. I'm seeing a lot of yarn, but I'm also seeing a lot of different things, bats, like combed bats and things like that I like to see that are kind of non-traditional materials. I'm very excited to see you in the morning, Kirsten. This is the only beer I'm going to have. I'm not going to do myself in and make it hard to wake up. Um, Dave, great to see you. You are having chili and cider. I'm going to say cheers, my dears, to that. Thank you. Tell the boys to come and say hi, and Jossie when they get a chance. Mm, I might have one more beer. Just, I've been nursing this one for a long time. I've got a drip left in there. Dave, there's not much I like better than beer and chili in any season. That's one of my favorite combos. Sometimes I substitute that, like swap it out in the summer for wine and chowder. Either way, it's a match made in heaven, right? Gail, great to see you. Good morning in Australia. Happy New Day. Happy weekend. Diane, great to see you. Cheers, my dears, from the east coast of Canada. So beautiful. Now, I know there's a bunch of friends. I know my friend Linda Ann, Karen Garby. Oh, you going to come say hi? A lot of friends headed out to Betty Ann Cormier's Shetty Camp workshop. There she is. There's my Joss. You always got to make the crazy face. Look at this pretty girl. Look at it. Seriously? Seriously, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Class right here. We were just having a burping contest out on the deck, so it's not unprecedented. That was a very pathetic one as well, I have to say. But you might be getting some friends saying hello to you. What's the new series of books that you're reading that you love so much?
Wings of Fire.
Wings of Fire.
Why'd you say it like that?
Well, making it very Wings of Fire.
Stop it.
If you have a child or grandchild this age, they might like Wings of Fire. It's a series about dragons. Oh, so she.
I'm not showing you.
Why won't you show Glory? In any case, busy days here, right? Yes. Love you, honey. Go away. You're making me nervous. Your presence is making me nervous because you're like.
Excuse me?
Yeah. She is. Yeah. She's growing up, I guess. That's one way to put it, right? All right. Linda B. Cheers, my dears. Great to see you. I got to snap myself out of it now because I'm thinking of things to say. It's not. I'm going to have to wait a couple hours to say them. Kirsten, I can't wait. Sharon, I can't wait either. We're going to have to exchange phone numbers. I'll text mine to you tonight. So you let me know if what time you're going to get there and where you want to meet. So I can meet anywhere. I don't know how big this thing is yet. 10 o'clock. Okay. Can't wait to see you all. I know there's other buddies out that way, and we haven't missed our Zoom girls. Oh, Sharon. Joy, good to see you. Gail says, hi, Jess. Oh, I hope you can all forgive her because she was totally crazy just there, totally out of line. Yeah, having a hard time these days with things like that, I got to admit. So Melissa B loves those books as well. They look very good. Diane, great to see you. Happy Friday. Cheers, my dears. You know, you just reminded me, I want to get back into doing our writer circle. And because a couple other people are working on books right now. I know Kirsten's working on her book. Shannon has pretty much finished her book, making some, Joyce, good to see you, making some changes. And yeah, there's a few people who are right there at the threshold of being finished. Okay, so I don't think it's a bear. I think it's the other kids. Okay, I'm not gonna do this every Friday. I'm high alert for bears out these two windows. I think we're good. Happy cocktail night, everybody. Welcome back. So tonight I wasn't really sure what to do because I've been in the middle of a bunch of things. One of them is, you know, I hosted my group today in person, so that was really something. Getting ready for an in-person multi-strand braiding class next weekend. Oh my God, it's next weekend. I mean, I'm still finding my supplies, so that is very stressful because I've got to cut up stuff for at least 10 kits, and I really have got to find the rest of the supplies. Super stressful, but if you are interested in multi-strand, we're going to go probably to a 10-strand in this class. It's very easy. It's not as complicated as it sounds, I promise. But that will be, it's really far from me now. That will be Madison, Connecticut on Saturday. I don't have my phone. Ariane, can you get my phone? We're all sitting out on the my phone. We're all sitting out on the deck, and I think I left everything. I'm so jealous. I think I need to move to the U.S. Yeah. Oh, everybody, and I should know. Thank you. Well, she's going to get a talking to later, that's for sure. I'm not going to crucify her, but yeah, I mean, she's Jesus. Judy Diane, I was just thinking I could never do a live show because my filters. Totally. We've been good for a long time. We've been good for years. But she's getting older. She's really pushing the boundaries of what she can do now. All right, so let's see. Calendar in the near future. Okay, so that braiding class, if you're interested in person, Connecticut, Madison, Connecticut, coming up on Saturday, September 27. And looking at what the next things I've got are. Yeah, I've got some tentatives, so maybe I'll wait. I'm kind of holding a lot of weekends in the fall this year because if you remember last year, I was teaching or speaking pretty much both days of every weekend throughout the fall, and I missed the chance for us to go to fiber, well, not fiber festivals, but like harvest festivals, fairs. We didn't do a corn maze. We missed a lot of stuff last year, so I'm trying not to do that this year. I'm trying to hold on everything a little bit, but that class is definitely coming up, and I might do the pumpkin class. What do I call them? The sugar skull pumpkins. I might do that one in person soon as well. Been very busy in the last couple of days. I put together, as in my mind, there are seasons for working on everything, and not every season is for hooking, and not every season is for finishing or for designing or for dyeing or for whatever I have in my head. I'm trying to do things when I feel like very inspired and and I think most likely to do a good job. So lately I have felt like designing again. Just for like one morning I was like, "Whoa." I got this burst of excitement and I decided that because I have the Halloween party coming up and oh my god, I can't tell you exactly what, but I had another call with Rug Cooking Magazine yesterday and they were talking about the swag bags for the Halloween party, which is in person in the Berkshires in Lenox, Massachusetts on Saturday, October 24th. And I will be doing a live segment for at least an hour for you all, for ribbon candy hooking, but also for Rug Cooking Magazine. So that free pattern, oh, I've been working on that. I think it's on the couch still. I've been killing it with the Midnight Dreary. I saw like 100 people have downloaded that. So I'm hoping that some of you are working on it too. Because Rug Cooking Magazine hasn't sent out the post yet, so it's just us who've been working on it so far. I don't think anyone else knows about it. Um, Finally made it. Oh, Doris, you missed Jocelyn dropping the F bomb. I'm very happy. I'm very happy for everyone who missed that. Super welcome and happy Friday night. I see I have missed seeing Joss. We'll see if she ever comes back after that. I think she's really embarrassed that she doesn't realize, I think, that because she does swear in front of me, I have to admit. And I clip it when we're somewhere that's not appropriate, but I've never heard her swear at the wrong time before. So I think, oh, well, kids all know these words, like I'm not going to overthink it. But she just did. So that worries me. But she's saying she's never done it at school. I've said to them, do you ever hear my kids swearing at school? Because I swear at home. I have to admit it. And they're like, no, never. So I think, okay, then we're good. But she was not good just now. Sorry about that. Um, Earmuffs, right? We need some earmuffs when these kids come on. But yeah, so I was working on doing some, anyway, complete the thought, Rug Cooking Magazine. They said, what else can we do with you? How else can we help with the Halloween party in person? Since I'll be doing this hour of And the Free Pattern, which goes out to their people as an email blast, that should go out over the weekend. Um, to give everybody the pattern that you already have, right? The Midnight Dreary, that's at Ribbon Candy Hooking. They'll be giving that to people at Rug Cooking Magazine who don't necessarily follow ribbon candy hooking. So they said, well, what else can we do to help with the party that would be helpful? And I said, well, the swag bag has become expensive, right? So if there's anything that you could put into the swag bag, that could be really helpful. So they said, I'm so awful these days. I just cut to the chase these days because time is such a thing. They said, oh, we could put in like subscription things or percentage off books or whatever, and I was like, okay, like what is the best thing that you could put in? Because I know when I get a swag bag and it's like a piece of paper that comes in the magazine anyway, that's like a subscription reminder. You get a percentage off the subscription. It's kind of like, yeah, no, that just triggers me, right? I'm not like excited, it just triggers me. So I said, think of the best thing that you could put in there, and and then tell me about it, and we'll start the conversation there. So they told me about something that is an exciting product that they haven't started yet. It's not a book. It's like a book. I better stop. But yeah, they named something that I thought, ooh, that's a very good thing if you're able to do it. And when we logged off, I was speaking to three of the girls, Catherine, and then two of the girls at Ampre, and they said, let me just check, right, with the big boss. Let me just check and see if we could do this for like 70 people. And she wrote this morning and said they could do it. So those of you who are coming in person, I'll be able to tell you more at the party and show the thing. And the thing will be available to everybody. But the exciting thing is people who are coming to the party, it will be in your swag bag, the sort of first occurrences, the first examples of this new thing will be in your swag bags, which is very exciting. So I was really pleased about that. So I was talking to them for quite a while, and I started thinking about what I wanted my stall to look like, because if you were at the party last year, you remember, got a speeding ticket on my way. I didn't get a speeding ticket. I got pulled over. And to be fair, my GPS still said I was 15 miles under, but whatever. So I got a warning, but it was still very, it got me, unhinged. And I got in there and I knew I didn't have the books because they didn't come in time. They came the next day, which was really helpful. The day after the book party, the books were super late, like 2.5 weeks late. So it was a really stressful, party was fun, but it was very stressful. And I was so stressed leading up to it and doing the swag bags, figuring the whole thing out, getting the book out, that I didn't really have time to think about my stall. And this time, because I love Halloween so much, I have been thinking about my stall. And so I made, I'll show you some of them. I made 7. Did I do 7? I think I made 7 new designs that are simple, kind of beginner designs that will be painted, right? Like my last set that were painted. And then you can choose to do the colors I did or do your own thing, leave some of it exposed, add beads, whatever you want. But the painted backing. So I'm going to do a bunch of those because I want to hang them all over my booth for the Halloween party. And so I'm going to show you the first one that I did. I just finished painting a little while ago. Didn't get to a second one before I had to go pick August up. So this one is called, I have a design in the upcoming Mystic Carpet book, hooked by Maria Barton of the Star Rug Company. And it's called Cat's Paw, after the Hit or Miss Fill background design. So so Cat's Paw is like a circle within a circle, like a penny, for like a penny rug. So this is a smaller version that has only one cat, and it's a completely different cat. That's a Cat's Paw sampler. And all of these have a hit or miss element. That's what I'm trying to say. So I just painted this one earlier, and they'll all be different. He's got a lime green hat, just so you know, he's got a lime green hat. But this one's called Cat's Paw Sampler. That's the first one that's hot off the press. Let me show you the second one. I started and I didn't have time to finish it. I had to race out. But this one is called, what is this one called? Something like, I forgot, like Yes, It's Fall, or no, something like that. I forget, but I have it written down. In the background, it's not coming up really strong, but there's a lot of green. I hope the green screen isn't doing its thing again. There's a lot of, that's not showing up well at all. There's a lot of green and purple in the background that's really not showing. That's so strange. I feel like I have a filter on again. So that one's coming. Let me show you a couple others. I don't want to show you all. Oh, this one I'm going to love. This is going to be a polka dot chicken. And this one's going to be called The Search for Corn, except it's candy corn. And all of these are going to be painted. I'll show you one more. Oh, I know which one I want to show you. Oh, boy. This one is the Hooker's Halloween. So I'm going to be painting all of these, and they are all 11 by 14, which means when you finish them, you just put them into a frame so that you don't have to finish the edges. They can just go into a standard frame. So I think that'll be a really positive thing. Yeah, I'm excited. I've got all my paint stuff out, and then I'm doing a series of 12 different small sugar skulls that will go into I think it's a 7 by 9 frame, so they're smaller, and the background will be painted too. So I'll have all of that stuff and a few other surprises, both in person at the Halloween party and coming up on ribbon candy hooking. So I've been working on that stuff quite a bit. There hasn't been a lot of time, I gotta say, lately, but I am trying to put some new products out, because with this move I haven't put anything out lately. I've put out a lot of free stuff, but I haven't put out like products, and I feel like, come on, let's get going. So time is a thing for sure. Time is a thing tonight as well. And so let's get into it, because we always run over on Fridays and it is always fun. But because we have a guest tonight, I'd like to spend some time with him too. He's such a sweetheart, August. I'm wondering if they're outside right now, because it is proper dark out right now. I said to them, clap as you walk in case there's like bears around, I feel like the bears come out at night. I'm not sure. I've only ever seen them in the day, but I feel like, aren't they out at night also? Oh dear. Okay, let's come over here and start. So I'm going to prep the slide. Let's prep that. And I'm going to say, so I was thinking about what I could do for the show tonight because it wasn't time for another gallery night yet. And time has been a real thing this week. So I thought, you know what, let's have a cozy. We haven't done a cozy night for a while. Let's do a cozy night. To be honest, I have not been keeping up with stuff. I get emailed rugs, from different auction houses. I get rug alerts from a few different places when something's going on. And I barely look at them right now. It's just everything is such a push. I barely look. So I feel as though I've missed a lot in the last month or since August. So I went back and I wanted to see like if I'd missed any spectacular rug sales. Are they brown bears or black bears? Gail, that's a good question. The one that I saw that was trying to get in the back of the car, I think that was a brown bear. I think they're not the grizzlies. They don't have the humpback. They have that flat back. So they're not like the really big ones. And they're not known for being aggressive unless you surprise them or they have the cubs with them. So I forget what the saying is. Someone said it to me the other day. Something like, if it's brown, get down. If it's black, I don't want to say fight back, but it was like one of those rhymes that reminded you when you see it, like whether you should try to react and get on something tall that's bigger to make yourself big. I don't think I would have the nerve for that. Or if you should just get down so as not to challenge. I'm going to have to look that saying up. Somebody said it last weekend when we had our housewarming. And I thought, oh, that's so good. I better remember that. And then I immediately forgot it. I should really know that. Because I'm really careful to, oh, thanks, Diane. I'm really careful to make noise when I go out the door and stuff because I just don't know. I just don't know. I'm so afraid one of these days I'm going to be thinking of something else like I usually am. Like today when I left the church from hosting my group, I had to pick up Teddy because it was a half day. And I was thinking of 100 things when I pulled out. And I was so stressed that I was going to be late and it was a half day and I gave myself just enough time. And I was so stressed and preoccupied with worrying about, did I do this? Did I do that? Am I finished with this? Am I finished with that? That when I pulled out, I went in the old direction like I was going to my old house. Man, and then I was over 20 minutes late to pick him up. I drove so far. And then that panic moment where I was like, and I realized I was going the wrong way. It's just what you do sometimes, isn't it? But I hate it when I do that stuff. Yeah, panic times. So I got on the computer yesterday and this morning, hey, and I was looking at rugs that I had missed at auction and rugs that are up right now. So I'm going to show you both, but somehow I missed a few, not necessarily even recent ones, one from this past December. The first one that I think are stunning rugs that are noteworthy that we should look at for specific reasons that I missed, right? Can't catch everything. By the way, besides festivals and all that stuff, when you see great rugs, if you're thinking like, oh, I don't know if Deanna saw that, it'd be a good thing to share. Make sure you send those to me too, because I'm sure I missed 90% of the good stuff that's out there, right? No doubt. So this rug, I don't know how this came up. Well, I do know how this came up. I had this site that's called Live Auctioneers, right? All the first rugs are from Live Auctioneers. Had this site bookmarked, and I went to the bookmark, and this was the first thing that popped up. So it was like an old bookmark. It took me to an old page because it didn't even want me to see the details of this rug. Somehow I've missed it. I don't think I've ever seen this in my life, because when I looked at this rug, I mean, I was just thrown for a loop. I thought, first of all, is this Mary Tooley Parker? Do you know? I've done so many shows on her. I went to her thing in person. I've done a lot on Mary Tooley Parker. She does a lot of the interiors that are, where was she? Wisconsin. She was in Wisconsin at her aunt's house. She always went to the aunt's house for the summer. It was multiple aunts. And she does these great interiors. And we've talked about them a lot on the show. And when I saw this, I thought, it's a Mary Tooley Parker. And then I thought, no, it can't be, because even though the subject looks right, it's just what she would do. It's not epic enough in scope. And it has a border. It's not a God's eye view looking down. It's just looking across. So none of it is Mary Tooley Parker, other than it's a rather unremarkable interior. And that's what Mary Tooley Parker does so well. So So I pulled this one up. I'm going to show you a close up of it as well. Um, Hold on one second. Wait a minute. There we go. So I'm showing you a close up on one side and the full picture on the other side. So this came up for auction in December of 2023. So I know what I was doing then. We were in New York City. It was Teddy's birthday, but I missed it. There were 40 bidders watching this rug close. And that's a hard time of the year to sell stuff because people who celebrate Christmas or most holidays are spending money, and there's parties and there's travel and whatever, and it's an expensive time of the year, right? We all know that. So it's remarkable that so many people were keyed into it. 40 people is a lot of watchers on one auction, particularly a hooked rug auction. There's not a huge crowd. In the end, it sold for $400, and this piece is 35 and a half by 24. So it's not a particularly large piece. It doesn't appear to me to be the photo on the right might hint that it has been down on the floor, but in terms of its subject, it doesn't strike me as a floor rug. It strikes me as a wall rug. But I think it has been on the floor because it has seen some spills over on the right in the curtain. So 40 people were watching this. The title was Hooked Rug, Pictorial Interior. Pictorial interior room scene depicting an antique oval hooked rug. So that's incorrect. It might be a hooked rug, but it looks more like a braided rug. And a mountain view out the window with purple curtains. Well, that's a very literal description. I guess they stayed away from the weird silhouette of the penguin on the wall or the duck or whatever, right? That's also very strange. It also looks out, it appears to me out the window to be like, I don't know, Matterhorn, doesn't it? I mean, it looks like a very sharp, sculpted kind of alpine mountain. It doesn't just look like, hey, it's not one of the New England mountains, right? It's a super rugged mountain. It's a weird view. And the way that this thing has been framed, like the curtains, right? The curtains are framing this view. So you really get a feel for the shape of the mountain. It's a very unusual piece. There's a lot of things in it that strike me as odd. Carol, great to see you. Oh, great to see you. Welcome. Happy Friday. And cheers, my dears. There's heavy black outlining going on, but the outlining or the highlighting in the curtain is brown. And the picture frame has black on sort of a branch under the bird or a horizon, but the frame is the dark green, just like the middle of the mountain value. So it's just funny. The values are funny. It's kind of a buttermilk background, but then they've got this similar tone, kind of dove gray border, and it's quite a heavy border. It's just a strange piece. It strikes me as being interesting. I mean, this isn't your typical hooked rug, so I was really drawn in. I was really drawn into the close-up as well because it's yarn. It's obviously hooked with yarn. I can't imagine in any world that this would be a commercial pattern. It's so specific, isn't it? I can't imagine. But it's different. I mean, I don't know. For me, I'm drawn to it's a curious piece because it's an oddball piece. The curtains are also cut off. It's framed weird. It seems to be pretty expertly done, but there are some parts of it that strike me as folky, and yet it's so rigid and angular, and there's perspective, right? There's definitely perspective. Like, look at the there's a vanishing point out the window, which is the top of the mountain, but they're also giving us geometry on the inside, which is the shape of the walls. And even the penguin is angled and shaped to show perspective. So it ain't that folky, right? It's really quite sophisticated in the way the composition was put together. It's just like the thing that strikes me is, what is the storytelling here? Is this a memory? Is this a moment? Is this a hotel room? What is this? Because there has to be a relationship between the mountain, the piece of art on the wall, and the rug could just signify a specific room. But it does seem to me that those three kind of oddball elements together are telling a story that the hooker knows, but we don't know. So we have to accept that this is just we don't get a lot of interiors. This is just, I was going to say an interesting interior. I'm not sure it's particularly interesting. It's interesting in that it asks more questions or leaves you with more questions than it answers. So it's not particularly, in my mind, peaceful to look at. It's like, huh, something on the wall, something on the floor, and something out the window. What does it mean? It's a curious thing. I was thinking, like, was it used in a magazine? There's a lot of negative space. Was there like a title on top or in a book and like text under the penguin? Like, I'm looking at it from the point of view of someone who publishes books at a magazine and thinking, there's a lot of negative space here. I wonder if that is part of it. If this was some kind of a vehicle for text, maybe for a poster for an exposition. I don't know. Because it doesn't say. It only says that the provenance is that it is from the Robert L. Fannebecker collection, and that's fan with a PH. So if anybody knows, I haven't had a chance to look up. I was putting this together as of like this morning before I walked out the door. If anybody knows about the Robert L. Fannebecker, Phanne Becker collection, that's one word, let me know, because there were other rugs. I don't think I included them in this show, but there were other rugs from the same collection. And usually when you have a collector, it's either a maker or a true collector. And I'm thinking, sold for 400, and the provenance is who owned it, but not who made it or designed it. What's going on here? That it's unusual, but is it $400 unusual? What else is going on here? I'm convinced that there's something else going on. This was at an auction house in Philadelphia, in case that helps. Interesting. So I thought those two were well worth looking at because I haven't seen anything like that other than Mary Tooley Parker. And I have to admit, I feel like Mary Tooley Parker's work is more interesting because the perspective from above, right, looking down at almost the blueprint of the house and looking in Mary Tooley's Parker work, instead of looking across the room at the scene, you're looking down, you're seeing the tops of the couch, the top of the table, what's on the table. You're also at the same time able to look out the window and look at the views. It has more of a folk art approach in that the perspective is completely thrown out the window. Whereas this one is very strong on the perspective. Strange. It's strange. It's an anomaly. If anybody knows anything about it, let me know. I'd be really curious. It's definitely an oddball. So coming up for this next one, this was an auction that, so this was a long time ago. This is January of 2017. So I'm not surprised that I missed this one. This was two rugs, these two rugs that sold for $30. There was only 4 people watching. Now, I say that because for the other one, there were 40 people watching. So does that mean in the years in between, we have more people between, 2017 and 2023? Do we have more people who are looking at hooked rugs and looking for hooked rugs? I hope so. But it is interesting, isn't it? Because neither of these rugs are particularly good. I think the top one is an original pattern, and the bottom is certainly a commercial pattern. So this auction occurred in Poughkeepsie, New York, and it was called 2 Pictorial Hooked Rugs, 1 Interior of Living Room. What a title, right? Like a total disregard for the second one as well. And the description said 2 pictorial hooked rugs. Again, 1 interior of a living room with fireplace and hearth rugs, seated cat, etc. 27 by 44, very good condition. I'm sorry, that is not very good condition. Like in terms of it not having a giant hole through it, but as far as fading, I mean, you can't say, as a seller, you can't say that that's in good condition. Is it charming? Oh, it's so charming. It's so charming. But it's extremely faded to the point where I'm like, is that a clock with 2 plates on the mantle? What is that, a window on the far left? And on the far right, I see H. It looks like something home. And for the life of me, I was thinking, what could that say? Like something home with it. It's like we're playing Wheel of Fortune, right? Wheel of, remember? And it's like home is definitely the second word, but E is the third letter of the first word. What is it? What could it possibly be? Something home. It's obviously not, home is where the heart is, right? There's not enough letters. But the fact that it's not legible, it's not readable, means it's not in very good condition, right? It's like, it's maybe fair condition. But fading is a huge problem with the textile. If we're talking about a textile, the first consideration is holes, and the second consideration is fading. right? Those are the things that textiles are most vulnerable to. It also says that both are circa 1950. That's a maybe. I mean, that it could be. It could be 1950. I feel that this is a 1930s era pattern. I've seen it going back to that era, but of course, we have seen similar designs to the one on the bottom. Let's first focus on the one on the top, and then I want to come back to that one on the bottom. Now, when you see this closer up, don't you think to yourself, well, that looks better than I thought? Now, it don't look good, right? I mean, it's not in perfect condition, and there are no pictures of the reverse. But I have to say, there is something so evocative going on here with color. Look at the melting down of the browns, right? It's you can't call it marble cake because it's very geometric, but all of the different browns that are there in that field, right? And then in the darker field, and I'm guessing there might have been some color change over the years because the distant and the lower closest field appear to be black now, but they might be dark green, or it might have been any color. It was probably a dark green, but it seems to have faded. Maybe not. I mean, when I look at this, I'm thinking it probably is a thrift rug. It looks brittle and stiff, like it's been washed and scrubbed. It definitely looks like it's been scrubbed. The texture is really bad. The house in the middle is completely faded away, like ghostly. In a weird way, that strikes me as beautiful. I have to say, the houses, for the lines that are there between the two houses, there's another building with smoke. With smoke, I see what you mean in the sky. Somehow, I feel like when it was in full color, it would have been very primitive and boxy, but you really have to work for it now that there's this much loss. I'm looking at the textured house, the darker house. I'm looking at the color change in the roof. They didn't have enough to do the door either. But just looking at that one house, they've done a pretty good job. And they are using thrifty materials. The one in the middle I can't see well enough to remark on. But the one on the far left, the brown one, looks very well done. Right? You just see the architecture, you see the beams, you see the shapes of the window. It's very well articulated. And it has that snowy white roof. Again, that could have been scrubbing. Hey, baby.
Where's the keys?
Oh, I don't know. They're by the door. I have to say, this strikes me, these three little houses across the green, strikes me as an actual place. Does it strike you that way too? Because it's a weird composition. There's two trees kind of off on the right. They're not framing it, right? It's not doing a ton for the composition. In the cluster of the three similar houses laid down, they almost look like prefab houses, right? It's that kind of size. They're pretty interchangeable. It's like a little community, a little neighborhood, Doris, yep, with little prefab houses. It seems like a real place. And it really makes me think this can't be a commercial pattern because honestly, the composition is not that good. Having said that, good and charming are two different things, right? So with this one, the color fade over the years, what the fading has taken away is a lot of value. But what else has the fading taken away? It's taken away colors, and it's left us with lots of browns and two different kinds of grays for the two trees, right? They use two different colors of gray, and look at that sky. Isn't that something? Like, it is just, it's haunting. This would be a rug, even though it's in poor condition. And we're not seeing the back. We don't know anything else about the back. But this would be the kind of rug that I'd be tempted, depending on the texture. I don't like to fool around with rugs that have been scrubbed, like with a scrub brush, right? That I have no interest in those because they're so brittle and they're so fragile. And it's just too stressful. But if this had some integrity, this would be the kind of rug I would be tempted to get, to try to, I don't think I would do anything to the house on the left, but I might try, I might not even do stuff to the house in the middle. I might try to put more color back into the sky to create contrast so you could see the whole, I'd want to re-infuse it with color and try to bring some of the colors back. And I'd be looking at the back of it, at the reverse, to see if I had some color cues, or if the whole thing has been soaking wet and baking in the sun, bleaching and blanching, on a clothesline for so many years that there's also fading on the back. that'd be a bit of a hardship. But with a rug like this, I know, Judy, and you know, they expect to get money for these rugs, but they leave out a lot of detail. They don't do their due diligence with provenance and all that stuff. And they don't show you the back, which they don't know enough about the market. They don't even take the time to learn enough about the handmade rug market to know that for people who are serious about buying, you absolutely require to see the back, because what if it's glued, right? Like, what if there's a real problem on the back? Totally with you. But this would be the kind of rug that if it were, for example, $10, $20, at a flea market, $5, I'd be tempted to fool around with it and try to individually paint some of these loops to bring the pattern back. I would be very tempted. So this rug was more interesting to me, although this is a rug, right? So this is the other rug in the lot that sold for $30. Given the year 1950, it's not impossible. I think it's a window on the left. Do you think so? Seems like there's curtains there, maybe either a hurricane lamp or a vase of flowers. Do we have, maybe it's Sweet Home. Does it say Sweet Home? And isn't it odd that the way the colors have faded? Red is normally a huge fader. It's one of the first faders. But in this case, the red has hardly faded at all. We've seen this pattern before. Don't confuse it for the pattern that's very similar, still a hearth composition, same thing, very flat, very head on. There's another one that we see often that's two like easy chairs, like upholstered chairs, facing each other, and usually people in silhouette facing in, but same thing, fireplace, mantle, wall art, and sometimes a cat. You know what song it reminds me of? Look at it for a second. Think of what song it reminds you of. Not literally, but it reminds me of, I light the fire, you place the flowers in the vase that you bought. Are you singing with me? Today. And I think that is a vase. Staring at the fire. I love that song. Have you heard the version of that song where it's David Nash, isn't it? Sang with Joni Mitchell when they were dating way back when. And he wrote it while they were together. There's a nice version of her singing it along with him. Anyway, I love the composition. It always makes me feel cozy. I love these hearth compositions. You know, I don't know that I would buy one because it's one of the most common designs. And certainly this one is not in great shape. But wait a minute. Close your eyes for a second. Like, really, close your eyes. Now open them. Now we've got the answers to some of our questions. So this is the same rug design. This is a different auction. This happened way back in April of 2020. This one, unlike the other one that said to be in pretty good condition, this one sold in very good condition, in fact. This one is like in perfect condition. This one sold for $120. So that's a lot, just the one rug. This one had 6 watchers. This was for sale in York, Pennsylvania. The description said that it measures 40, it's 40 by 23. So the other one was 27 by 44. And that's odd too, because come here, come back. These are identical. Well, except they changed the Sweet Home to 2 ships. I saw 2 ships come sailing in. I wonder if that's the 2 ships. But we can see that there are dishes on the mantle. I don't want to give you like epilepsy or something, but I want to flip back and forth because it's fun. It's fun to compare, right? So on this top one, look at how they've done the rug on this top one. Look at all that tweedy goodness. Chair is different. Ooh, Doris, I missed that. Chair is different. Now, wait a minute. Let's see. Yep, chair is just better on this one. It's a bit of a Van Gogh chair, isn't it? 3 rugs. So 3 rugs in this one as well. I think this one, I gotta say, this one, the cat has a cute face. It's a very demure face, and there's nice shading, like, you know, behind the back leg and between the legs. That this cat, to me, has a really nice shading. And I like the squared off, the way the rug is squared off. And I love the pinstripe kind of thing on the wallpaper. I love this. But I don't think the cat has a ball of yarn on this one. Can you believe we have conversations like this on a Friday night? Is there something wrong with us? Really? But isn't it interesting? Because look here, I bet somebody had a cat, a mischievous little devil, and yeah, is playing with a ball of yarn in this one. Now this cat, look at it, has the same face. So that must be the pattern, that little demure face. The cat is well done here too, I gotta say. Now that I realize it's the same pose. Yeah, this one is all around better. So, and wait a minute. Look at the window here. It's super faded, but it looks like there's like a what's that thing called? Pelmet, pelmet, right? Is that that wooden top like a valance, the boxy thing on top of a? I think that's called a pelmet. They turned that here into like molding, right? Like squared off molding. So, but they kept the shape of the curtain, and in many ways, it's quite similar. But it's funny to see what they changed, isn't it? Let's look at the fireplaces and the brick on the fireplaces. That's quite, well, actually, it's not. This does, I gotta say, this does look older, right? This is like a more of a hearth, like a cooking hearth with the brick around it, and then the gray. Um, but then again, was it? I bet the brick was gray. Was the wallpaper gray too back in the day, or was it like sage green? What color was the carpet? We can't see the back, so we don't know. So all of that's interesting. This is a little bit different, and it's more cheerful. And God knows, Judy says, I like the wallpaper border at the top of the first one and the flagstone hearth. Okay, let's check it out. Let's check it out. Wait a minute. Get rid of this one. Yeah, I like the flagstone hearth. Oh, I like the wallpaper border. I like the wallpaper border a lot. And on this one, can you tell on the carpet, the yellow carpet, that might not be yellow, they framed it with a not solid material, right? It's got like a white border on it. It's very formal looking, right? They're trying to make this room look pretty fancy. And it is a pretty humble room at the end of the day, isn't it? So this example that the seller, who obviously does not know anything about rugs, the first one is said to be from 1950, maybe. This one, to me, could be 70s, could be 80s, could be yesterday. It's really hard to tell. This one doesn't have a date. Little bit of a different size, but it could be that they just stretched it a hair. It's only a little different. It's different. Well, you know what? 19 by 33 and a half. No, I'm sorry. No, no, no. 27 by 44. That was the first one versus 40 by 23. So it's 4 inches different all around. It's 4 inches all around different. Wait a minute. How can we account for that? It's like, where's the secret panel? Where's the secret room, right? Where's the copy of the Constitution hidden? I don't see space for 4 inches on this pattern. That has, this is crazy. No, it's just not there. It has to mean that it came in a different size. I mean, it's an identical pattern. And I think either somebody this has to be the substitution with the two boats, right? Because that really makes no sense. Like, nobody needs two boats. That means something to this person and the ball of yarn. So there's two modifications here. Is it the same time on both clocks, I wonder? It's hard to tell. I mean, this to me looks like 12:15 or 3 o'clock, whereas this one to me doesn't matter. Looks like quarter of. Doesn't matter. In any case, it is curious and interesting to look at the details of these rugs. This is a detail of the little boats. Now, something else curious about this rug, you see the mantle, part of the mantle is like a mixed, like a tweedy, right? Like a patterned wool. This appears to be all wool. And this appears to be, I mean, this looks to me to be maybe a four-cut, that kind of thing. So it's a smaller cut. It's almost like it's hooked by someone who's been like Chedicom trained, doesn't it? It's so methodical and careful. There's no higgledy-piggledies happening here. Another rug that does look like it was down on the floor, unless someone had an incredible fall, did a Jack Tripper and spilled their tea all over the wall. That is quite a stain. I'm guessing it was down on the floor. That's always a bummer, but you know, it's life. Um, Interesting. The two boats are outlined in a different material, but this is some seriously expert hooking happening here. Very delicate, very fine, a lot of outlining going on, but different colors of outlining. The mantle is outlined in black. The candle isn't outlined at all. The picture is outlined in teal, and the boats are outlined in two different shades of green. I mean, really unusual. No border. Okay, wait a minute. Let's come back. So, okay, that one has no border. You know, you must be right, Doris. You must be right. One, two. I feel like could that border would have to be 2 inches though. That can't be 2 inches. maybe it's a combo. They just made it, I don't know. It could be measured wrong too, but you're right. That is very astute. There is no border on this one. Interesting. I love stuff like this. I'm sorry, I'm stopping. I love stuff like this. It's curious to think about, and this is so it's unraveling a little bit on the end. And to your point, Doris, there is no border. You can see it's done on burlap. I love the mix of Tweety fibers in it, right? This is, and also the wood I didn't realize was patterned, but the brown is also patterned. We're seeing a close up of the far left hand side with the ball of yarn, but you can see no border. And yeah, it must have been on the floor because the edges are coming undone, right? Somebody's, I vote Jack Tripper for this stain. So many ways to do a Jack Tripper, right? I mean, that's the thing about putting rugs down. It is nice to have them down. I had a beautiful rug down in my new breezeway here, and it was one of my braided rugs that I love. But I'll tell you, I tripped on it a couple of times, and I thought, we're not doing this. We're not playing this game. And because I thought I'm going to face plant into my metal table, right? That's the next thing that's going to happen. I'm going to take out a bunch of like these lights and things I've got up in the meantime, not to mention getting hurt. I just took the thing out because I could just see, I could see the writing on the wall. It was right there. So yeah, this is, we're getting some information here. We're seeing that it hasn't been, for someone who's this good of a hooker, they did not finish the edge at all, and they put the rug down on the floor. And then it suffers casualties when people step on the edge of it. Yeah, and not everybody has it built into their head, like you step on a crack, you break your mother's back, right? Because when I try not to step on rugs, whether they're hooked rugs or not, I try to walk around rugs. It's just hardwired that way. The writing is on the rug. But I don't. And in antique stores and stuff, even when it's tight, I try really hard. I also try not to step on cracks, right? So that's a different problem. But you see some people like in stores and stuff, and it's just like they've got big boots on, or they got work boots on, and they're totally unconscious of where their feet are, and they're moving and shuffling from side to side, and it's like, man, you're standing on a hooked rug right now. You are single-handedly like shredding the edge of it. You know what I mean? I mean, I have said to people in stores, like, just to let you know that rug you're standing on is for sale. Like, I must come off like such a jerk sometimes, but it makes me nervous when I see it because I'm thinking the next person who walks through the door might fall in love with that rug. Now you've taken the side off of it, right, with your big dang boots. And it does happen, and people don't know, right? It's not like, maliciousness, and it's not even stupidity. It's just not paying attention. Rugs are on our radar, but they're not on everybody's radar, right? So, yeah, it's always fun to see rugs, I think, side by side like that, to see how two different people have made them. And the two different color palettes were remarkable. Of course, with the first one, it was so faded, we really don't know what colors were there. But the second one was like it was just made. And if it wasn't just made, it was being held for a while, right? If it was made in the 70s or 80s, somebody maybe gave it as a gift and rolled it up and didn't put it out, or it definitely was not. Well, wait a minute, it had the stain. It had the stain. Interesting, because it has, yes, it did. It had the damage on the side. That was the Jack Tripper. Okay, so they did have it out. They did have it out. It had no fading at all. Okay, maybe it was a vampire, and they had all the curtains drawn, and they managed to trip on it several times and spill beverages on it, but light never hit it. Not one ray of light ever hit that rug. Not impossible. It is unlikely, but it's not impossible. So let's move on to this beauty now. I know this reminds you of one of our favorite people, one of our favorite makers. This is, hold on, let me get to the part. Okay, wait a minute. Let me get to the next page. Here we go. So this rug was for auction in January of this year, so not that long ago. This was described as a Magdalena Briner. They did not say EB, right? You really should use the whole name. Of course, they're saying in the style of, not her actual rug, but just due diligence. Come on. Magdalena Briner style pictorial hooked rug decorated with various animals and flowers with fans. With fans. Okay, so they think that the lamb's tongues at the two bottom corners, it must be, right, are fans. Okay. So see, this really pushes my buttons because it's like this rug. There were 33 watchers on this. This rug sold for $550. Now, granted, this rug is 55 by 23. So, like two rulers across and 55 top to bottom. So, it is a big rug. You could put it down on the floor. It isn't, they're not saying it's Magdalena, they're saying it's Magdalena Briner style. And the description reads a Magdalena Briner style pictorial hooked rug decorated with various animals and flowers with fans in two corners. Oh boy. Late 20th century. That's true, without a doubt. Excellent condition. I'm sure that's true. Provenance. Moving to smaller quarters, will sell for consignor part of her collection of hooked rugs she made as a member, okay, of the Dutchess County, so that's New York, Rug Hookers Guild, which has been active in the Hudson River Valley for over 50 years. The rugs in this collection are all in excellent condition and were made for her personal use and not for resale, and graced her former farmhouse for the last 25 plus years. This is beautiful. It has a really good color sense. It really does, Judy. You know, it has a flavor of Magdalena, but there's a lot of things about this composition that are not Magdalena at all. And that doesn't take away from the composition, right? That makes no difference at all because it's in the style of. I really love this rug, I have to say. Let's go through it bit by bit. This rug, I just want to do the business part first. So this rug sold for $550. It had 33 watchers. That's really respectable because it's not an old rug, right? So it spoke to a lot of people. It was in Poughkeepsie, New York again. And I just have to say, when you think about, and I've said this before, I just want to remind you, these are all at Live Auctioneers, right? Different auction houses under the umbrella Live Auctioneers, which is an online site you can go to right now, right? Some of the rugs I'm going to show you tonight are available now. So the rug sold for $550. This particular house, right, the auction house, had a buyer's premium of 25%. That means 550 plus another 25%. If you're wondering what for nothing, right? For nothing. Because the auction, this makes me bitter. I'm sorry. The auction houses get paid, they take a commission from the seller, but they also take a commission from the buyer. And they take 25% of that sale. So 25% of 550. So that would be at least, I'm not good enough at math to figure it out, but it would be like, what, 175, something like that? It would be something like that, wouldn't it? That's a lot more money for that. Now, if you're going to have it shipped on top of that, oh my God, right? That's what gets me. You have to be really careful with these online auctions. I'm not talking about eBay. I'm talking about these auction houses because some of the percentages, I have to say, I've never seen less than 15%. I usually see 15 and 20 are the most common. 25 is really pushing it. I have seen 30%. It's at that point, I'm not going to be like Jocelyn and say an awful swear, but you have got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. You've already been paid by the seller. You're taking a percentage and you expect me to pay. Better be a good rug is all I can say. So this is a good rug. This is a good rug. It's just the business. It's the game. I wish the game worked differently, right? This is just crazy times. Let me just take a swig and let's break this down. Let me enlarge it, or you know what? Let me enlarge it first. I know I have other. You know what? No, let's stay here for a second because I know I have enlargements. Give me 1 second. Let's look at this rug and refresh and learn something, right? Remind ourselves what we know about Magdalena Briner Eby. So I'm not going to go into her history and all that because we've talked about her so much, and I've written about her in the Design Like an Artist book, and we talk about her a lot. So many episodes on Magdalena, one of my favorite people. What is like Magdalena in this composition? The idea of the animals that are not very literally formed. They have a fairly primitive shape to them. That's like Magdalena. The fact that some of them are facing in the wrong direction, that's like Magdalena. Except that with Magdalena, more of them would be facing in the wrong direction, right? What else is like Magdalena? the fact that some of the animals, the same animals, some of them are small and some of them are large, proportion, right, was never a thing for her. So that can work that way. There's a cat on the top who's bigger than the horse, right, in the middle. There's a bird that's bigger than the cats. So this can happen, and that is Magdalena. The lamb's tongues, right, aka fans at the bottom, that's very Magdalena. You see the little forms that are like leaves. They're little leaves with red veins. Some of them don't have the red vein, but they look like little ovals, right, or lips, right, that kind of thing. That's her. She does that as a filler, as a jigsaw piece. She squeezes in a lot of that exact leaf. So she does that a lot. That's very Magdalena. The other flowers, right? The flowers that look like flowers, that's not super Magdalena. She did not do a lot of flowers that look like flowers. She didn't do flowers with stems with individual leaves, right? She was much more shape driven and much more primitive. The house, right? She did use houses, but I can't think of a single example when she's used a small house. So there are some things that are just like her. The hearts, she did use hearts, but only ever, in my mind, like one in a piece because they're fillers. They're filling up space where she couldn't fit something else. So in a lot of regards, this is very like Magdalena. And it's not about is it close enough to a Magdalena to have value? It's not about that. It's its own composition. It's apples and oranges. But it is interesting because it is playing on all of Magdalena's tropes, but it is doing something unique and original as well. And in my mind, that's a bonus. It's not a copy of, it's like a tribute to. In my mind, that adds value to the piece because I can see the things that are a hat tip to Magdalena and I can see things that are different. So I feel like I'm benefiting from two different people's creativity, the maker slash designer of this piece and Magdalena. The red stripe on the sides, I have to say I've seen Magdalena outline, but not like that. That's really different and it's very interesting. It's absolutely a beautiful piece. Let's look at it a little bit closer up. So I'm going to bring two images to you at the same time. And the one on the left is just a close-up of some of what you saw. And on the right, that is the back. And you can see that this piece is whip stitched. You can see how tidy the hooking is on the back. It's extraordinarily tidy. Very, very well done. The colors are sort of Magdalena. You don't get a lot of blue with Magdalena. You don't get blue backgrounds. You get black backgrounds, brown backgrounds. But this is heavy. It's mixed, right? It's blue mixed with some other colors, blacks and browns. But it does have a heavy sort of indigo backbone to it, and that's a little different too, but yet it is a primitive color, right? And so that fits in with the vibe of the piece, that primitive country feel. It's a lot of white in this piece too. She didn't do very much with white, so it's fun to look at the things that are different and that make this piece a real work of art in its own right, definitely inspired by Magdalena. This maker is using I like the red circles. The red circles for Magdalena were cherries or choke cherries, and when she put a cherry into the bird's beak, that was basically served as her like signature, right? To say that she had made the piece. There's not every rug has that, but when it's there, at least with 19th century rugs, you can, reasonably and reliably, thank you, presume and assume that it is a Magdalena because that really is her signature. I like how there are fills. I still have a little bit of beer. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks. I like how there are fills of different colors and textured materials here too, because remember Magdalena, right? Just one more Magdalena reference. Magdalena got most of her materials from her sister who worked at a sort of bedlam psychiatric hospital at that time, which, as you can imagine, were not super humane. And when people checked in, they didn't check out again. So, and they were given clothing to wear, like a uniform. So their clothing, there was there was no purpose for their clothing, and the sister took the clothing and brought it home, and Magdalena was able to use it. So she had maybe more colors, more access to more materials than the average person would, because she's got this sort of connection to clothing, like almost sadly unlimited amounts of clothing too, right at that time. The amount of people that were locked up in psychiatric hospitals, right, because their husband said they were crazy, or their parents or their sisters or their neighbors or whatever, and it was very hard to defend yourself in those days. This is a beautiful piece that really speaks to the history and the legacy of Magdalena, but is in its own right an extraordinary piece. Now, speaking of history, this is a guess who the maker is on this, right? Or guess what the school of is on this. I'll give you a second while I take a sip. So I'm going to hang out here for a second just while I find, there we go. And since there is a delay, the creator, Judy, you're right, had a really good color sense. All of those beautiful reds and warm colors. One of the the way that we judge rugs now, right, is very different than the way we judge them and look at them as makers is different than the way that somebody who doesn't make hooked rugs would look at them and judge them. That goes without being said. But the way that we look at rugs now, and I'm sure I'm not helping with, people have, I think in general, or certainly we do here, more information about schools of hooking, styles of hooking, general art and design, right? We, on this channel, I don't log on and hook, right? We log on, we talk about stuff, we try to together get smarter, make connections, stay on top of the scene and what's going on. We're on it, right? We are on it. And that's unusual, right? So we have a different view than other people would have. But I feel like nowadays, when you look at a rug like the Magdalena style, we're much more likely to say, oh, there's a lot of warm colors, but there's not a good balance of cool colors, stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Just because I think, in a way, we have so much knowledge at this point, we are maybe overtraining ourselves. But at the end of the day, most people will look at something and go, it strikes me, it does it for me, or it doesn't do it for me. And really, that's the way it should be. It's like, it's your heart, right? Your heart says, I love it, or it doesn't do anything for me. I can see that it's beautiful, but it doesn't do anything for me. So it's always good to step back. If you're wanting to collect or buy, obviously you have to buy with your heart, because hooked rugs are not worth nearly as much as they used to be. And we hope that they will rise in value, but we can't bank on it, like literally. So you have to buy with your heart. But I don't think we should judge rugs according to the way that we make our own rugs. Because when we make our own rugs, I think a lot of us are saying things like, ooh, dark, light, dull, bright, as you should. And if you want, right, if you want for that piece, not every piece. And you might be saying, like, I've got a lot of warms and not enough cool. It really depends on how you feel and how you're planning the piece. But I think we have the ability, all of us at this point, to be very technical in the way that we plan. It's not the way that 19th century rugs were color planned. So Magdalenas are full of super warm colors with no balance of cool colors. No balance, right? There's not a lot of cool colors that you can get from nature, from natural dyeing, right? So that right there, that's the start, right? So yeah, we see very few like purples and lavenders and lilacs and sea foams and turquoise and all of those cool values of the same colors. We don't see a lot of that. So in this rug, we're not seeing a lot of that. And that rug is so warm and cozy color-wise, because it is really done in the style of, coming back down, in the style of Magdalena. Very, very pretty. Super pretty. Jessica, great to see you. And yes, it's all about color sense, isn't it? Oh, Alice said, my impression, wait a minute, I'm going to come back here. My impression initially was that this was a foggy day in autumn when morning fog rolls in. Ooh, I'm putting it back on. The farther away the house, the less visible it is. Ooh, I wonder if that was the first one. The first one. I bet that was the first one and that was delayed. It did look like a fog or a mist coming in. And isn't that, the way you wrote it was very eloquent. We want you to say, don't say any swears. Jossie came in here and said the F-bomb. Right.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it from outside.
Yeah.
Hello.
Fantastic. There's my man. We love Joss too. She's not going to do that again. Here's my man. Happy Friday night.
Happy Friday.
Is Augie going to come and say hi? Does he want to make a cameo?
I don't know.
All right. Well, I love you, baby. I hope you're having a good night. Hey, if you go outside, make noise in case there's bears.
Oh, yeah, we already did.
Okay.
It was
Are you
pretty
going to go
epic.
outside again, or are you going to stay inside now?
I don't know. Probably not.
Okay. Well, if you go outside, make sure that you keep clapping, right?
Yep, I got you. Love you, Mom.
Love you too,
And our
Dad.
viewers.
And he loves the viewers too, he said. You're so cute, honey. They're both cute. She did a whopper, but we still love her, right? She did a whopper. I know. So Alice, I love that. I love that description, and it's so much more romantic than the idea that somebody was just there with a scrub brush on their hands and knees, right? Um, he's a gorgeous boy. Oh, he did so well in his review the other day. They're both doing so well at school. But I had his review for the autism, and the teacher said, because he's like, I think there's 2 new people in the school this year. It's very small. And the teacher said that they could not remember a time when they had a new student who so quickly made so many friends. And they said they walked down the halls and people are going, yo, Teddy, Teddy man, hey. And I said to him, you slippery monkey. Because I ask him every day when I pick him up, I say, oh, did you make any friends today? And he always says, like, no, not yet. I probably won't make friends until March. That's like what he says. And they're like, oh no, he's like super popular. All the kids want to get to know him. Oh my God, I'm so relieved, because he has me thinking he's like, Nancy, no friends, like sitting at the lunch table by himself. All good. Alice, I agree with you. That is such a romantic way of describing. Isn't it great with that first rug with the 3 houses, but the middle one was ghostly behind, as Alice says, the fog. Isn't it nice to look at a rug that has that much damage and loss and to still be able to look at it with romantic eye and see that beauty and that great storytelling in it, right? Yeah, that's the way we have to be and stay. Oh, I'm glad he is. It's huge. It's huge. And he did run, I give you a personal break. He didn't run his mile, right? Because we had a problem with gym class this week. He didn't run the mile, and he did a lot of walking. He started off by running and then he walked. And I've been talking to a lot of people about this gym thing, because in gym, I'm 53, so it was a long time ago. I guess I don't remember. But I remember in gym square dancing, playing volleyball. I don't remember the nuns running us for a mile, because they would have to be watching us, and how would they? I remember running around the field where the church was, but that certainly was nothing like a mile. This sounded like well, Teddy had the running of the mile thing, and it's been like in the 80s. And he was really nervous about that, because he was so nervous he would be the loser who was, he's a bit bigger than everyone else. He would be the last one, and everyone would just be standing there, watching the new kid, crawl on his hands and knees for the last few yards. And I thought, why are they putting kids into this situation where it could be so embarrassing doing these like sort of endurance challenges that are like solo? It's not like playing on a team and dropping the ball. It's like, okay, you drop the ball. But when you're running and everyone's standing there watching you, I know some of you have had that, right? And I remember that from signing up for cheerleading. They made us run and stuff, and it was not for me. And I know probably all of you have a story about gym or running and being the last one, and it's awful. And then they took Jossie the day after, and I didn't even know that this was happening. And she said that they ran her, the whole class, so long that she had to go to the bathroom because she thought she was going to puke. And then they had her, going on her elbows like this, dragging herself along the ground like a sniper or something. What is this, like military? I wrote to the school the same day, and I said, I'm sorry, I was looking through her backpack for like the Navy SEAL certification. What was going on in gym today? Like, were they on Fear Factor, like junior edition? Like, what was going on at the school today? Because I might have told you this already, but she had to go to the doctor in the end because she felt she couldn't breathe. There were 3 other children in the nurse's office who also could not breathe, and there was a child with a twisted ankle, all from one class. It's like, I'm sorry. Does it seem like maybe it was too much, right? Are we going out of our minds? Honest to God, I said, if she signed up for the military and she was training today, I take it all back. But otherwise, could we not do this again? I don't need to worry. Not to mention the fact that, you don't change for gym anymore. Like, you're just going to go to gym in the morning, be crawling around on your armpit and your elbows, turn into she's got deodorant on, but turn into a sweaty pig, and then just have to go to classes for another 6 hours? Like, what? I don't know. I don't get it. I know I can complain about anything, but I just don't get it. I try so hard to not put people in situations where they would be embarrassed, in teaching situations, in life, in church, right, when I'm speaking, when we're choosing people to do readings and stuff. I go out of my way to not put people in situations ever where they might be embarrassed or fail and be nervous or worried. Why does anybody have to be in stressful situations like this? Yeah, I mean, like, why? I don't get it. But then again, maybe kids should go outside and run for miles. I don't know. I know I wouldn't want to. If I would have to crawl on my hands and knees. So I feel like if I can't do it, why should my kids do it? God's sake, you know? All right, I'm stopping. Stop it. Stop it. I'm the worst. I'm a problem as soon as we get to our new town and our new school. I was very, very nice about it, but I did say the thing about like the Navy SEAL certification because I thought, wait, do you still have all your toenails? Were they running you on the beach? Like, I'm stopping. Anyway, let's stop. Now, I didn't get any, sorry. I didn't get any, oh no, close your eyes, close your eyes, close your eyes, really, close your eyes. No. Okay, now you know. When I asked, who do you think is the maker on this piece? I think it's unexpected, but if you watched the many Grenfell episodes that I've done, maybe you thought to yourself, I think it's a Grenfell. And if you did think it's a Grenfell, I bet it's for two reasons. I bet it's for three reasons, right? The border, the black border, okay, that's one. The next one, thank you, Judy and Gail, because I feel sometimes like I'm a real harpy or something. And, you know, yeah, I try to advocate for my kids, whether they deserve it or not. And I just thought, this is bonkers. This is my last remark on this subject. If you have kids or grandkids, when they go to school, they should be worried about tests, exams, book reports, science projects. They should not be worried about gym class. Come on. There's only so much in here and in here that you can worry about. Please let them worry about academics. Don't have them worry about crawling on their armpits across fields. Like, no thank you. So the black border is very Grenfell-esque. What else is really Grenfell-esque about this piece? Well, you can tell even from this distance that the very tidy hooking is done in meticulous rows. That's very Grenfell. The brown is pantyhose. It's straight up pantyhose, right? That brown background and the brown halves to the leaves. That's very Grenfell. So all of these things together, if you sat long enough with it, I know that all of you would say, looks like a Grenfell. Also the fine outlining in black, right? All of these things are dead giveaways that it is a Grenfell rug. It was described as a Grenfell rug on the auction itself. It said, this was in January of 2016, early 20th century Grenfell pictorial hooked rug floral. There were 8 people watching in 2016. This happened in Williston, Vermont, right, which makes a lot of sense because it was like way up north. Came home as a souvenir at some point. There were 8 people watching, and it sold for $450. So it's a decent amount. They did this weird 1 foot 8 inches. So that's okay, 1 foot or 1 yard. No, 1 yard 8 inches. So 36, 7, 8, 9, 40. So it's 44 on the small side, 44 across, so bigger than a yardstick, obviously, and by 2 foot 2 inches. So wait a minute, no, it can't be. It can't be, can it? 1 foot 1 inch by 2 foot 2 inches. Yeah, I guess it could be. I guess it could be. So, you know, it's a, I'm sorry, foot, not yard. Of course, it's foot, not yard. It's a welcome mat. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. They usually put it in inches, and I'm looking at the apostrophe, and yeah, it's 1 foot 8 inches. So it's a welcome mat size. It's small. $450 for something this size. That's a good price. Of course, in 2016, Grenfell rugs were already collectible, and hooked rugs in general were doing a little bit better than they are now. The description said early 20th century Grenfell pictorial hooked rug with floral motif, silk and cotton. Ooh, silk and cotton. Older version tag says made in Labrador. So it doesn't say Grenfell on the reverse. Remember if you remember the Grenfell episodes, remember there were different designers, right? Leadership changed a few times. There was some bitterness there with the changing of the designers, and Grenfell himself started to do a little designing. So it might have been that there was a problem with putting Grenfell on it, and it just said made in Labrador, or it could be indeed the older version of the tag. I don't know. I question cotton though, because these are categorically silk stocking mats. I don't know that they ever used cotton, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But yeah, I mean, they are known as silk stocking mats. I'm not sure about that. Doesn't matter. It's a lovely rug, and here is what the label looks like that says "Made in Labrador." Um, you know, I have to say, if I was running this auction with the Made in Labrador, I would not be comfortable writing Grenfell rug, um, just because without that label, it really is not. It's not 100%. You really need to have that label. There were a lot of people in that region at that time who were making rugs. I think it is a Grenfell rug because it does look like it's made with pantyhose and dyed pantyhose. It's certainly hooked in the right style. The border, the design, everything looks right. But at the end of the day, they were selling these rugs like crazy, and there are imposter Grenfells, without a doubt. There are known to be imposter Grenfells. I guess if you love the rug, then it doesn't matter whether it's got Grenfell or Made in Labrador. But if you're a collector and you're buying this for an investment, I would say that Grenfells would be the only category of rugs at this moment that I would buy for an investment. Maybe, I take it back, maybe Hutchinson rugs for an investment. I'd say some of the Claire Murrays, the super rares, I would buy for an investment if the price was right. But rugs in general, I would say not. And that includes the next series of rugs. And it's going to surprise you because we did so much on the Gagetown hookers, right? It was like a husband and wife team. The brand was called Gagetown. This is a 20th century brand. If you look up Gagetown, I did two, if not three or four shows, and we looked at the book, right? It's a super rare book that I got a hold of, and I shared everything that I could share out of that book. I found some supplemental stuff online. We really dug in to the conversation on Gagetown. But at the same time, I feel like when we were looking at the Gagetown rugs, we loved them then. I bet we still love them now. I know I do. But at the end of the day, we know the name Gagetown, but not everybody knows the name Gagetown. So I don't. So these rugs, you know what? Holy mackerel! Let me check and see if any of these auctions closed while we're doing this. I wouldn't buy even Gagetown rugs right now for an investment, just because I'm not sure. It was a big deal to us, but is it a big deal to everybody? Right? That's always the question when you're not buying with your heart. So let me look up Gagetown. And let's see, I think some of these rugs were supposed to finish earlier today. Let me see if any of them finished, because then I could give you a hooked rug. I could give you an update on the closing price. No results. Dang it. Let me check one more thing. Hang tight. Have a sip. Gagetown hooked. Ooh, it's getting hot in here. Hooked rugs. Let me see. Oh, I have it bookmarked on my laptop, but you're on my laptop, so I can't change the window. If anybody has time, see if you can see any of the gauge. Oh, I see them. I see them. No, I don't. 4 days ago, maybe. Let me see. Maybe. No. Be a part of history. Oh, no, this is from Explore. Okay, wait a minute. Explore full catalog. It was the auction house that did a nice auction closed. Well, come on. Auction details. Here we go. This was in Thomaston, Maine. Oh, please show me. Request more information. If anyone, yeah, it's not easy. They're playing games here. If anyone has time, it is the Thomaston Place Gallery auction house. Sorry, Thomaston Place auction house in Maine. I'm just checking to see if I can find anything out. Yeah, I can't tell. Very strange. I'll see if I can find anything later. If you can find something while I'm running right now, it'd be exciting, because I'm so curious what the finished prices were. So the Gagetown rugs, and again, go back to those episodes if you're interested, because it's a beautiful sort of family business and the story of discovering the rugs and making deals. And the rugs were being made in great numbers to be sold in the U.S. From one antique dealer, if I remember right. And he was bringing them back to the U.S. and he had a ready market for them. People wanted them. They had a great country feel to them, right? This is a great example of a Gagetown rug. So we said during that show, and I posted this in our Facebook group too, which is Rug Cooking and Punch Needle Club. We said while we were looking at these rugs over those episodes, like, oh my God, if any of these go for sale, I would so want to get one. And then they are for sale. Like they were for sale yesterday. And it might be that more come up for sale, because it certainly wasn't all of them. But it must have been the collection of one person who put them for sale, or something happened, you know. So as of yesterday, the auction was live. This particular rug had 27 watchers. Now that's a lot for a rug like this these days. That's a lot. It makes me wonder, were those some people who watched the show with us, right? Who watched the coverage that I did of Gagetown? Because that promoted the hell out of this brand. And I hope so, right? Because I hope what I do is meaningful. It is to us, but I hope it's meaningful in general, you know. So Gagetown Pictorial Hooked Rug, NB, New Brunswick, Canada, 21 by 38, had 27 watchers. The estimate was 300 to 400 yesterday. As of yesterday, I think it had no bids. It had a starting bid that they wanted of 150, but it wasn't clear that there was somebody bidding 150. And it said 2 chickens on a rainbow striped field, 1 red and 1 white, from the estate of Larry and Jean Dubourg. That was them, right? Larry was the guy who went up, discovered these 2 hookers, right? In Gagetown was the place, I think, and started buying their rugs like crazy for an American market. It was definitely Larry Dubourg. Okay, so that explains how they got there, right? This auction also has a 25% premium. So whatever you buy the rug for, you got to give them, cross their palms with another quarter of that amount, of the finished amount. So absolutely beautiful rug. If it looks familiar, it's because we looked at it. I think we looked at this exact rug because Larry wrote the book, literally, and we read the book together. And it's a super rare book. That's why I covered it meticulously, because there were no other copies to be had. And I wanted to be sure that the information was out there for everyone who was interested. This is the reverse of the rug. We definitely looked at this exact rug. It would be easy. So Kirsten's question, it would be easy to make. Oh, okay, thank you. Oh, Kathleen, oh my God, thank you. The chicken sold for $5.50. Okay, so that sold 100 over the high end estimate. $5.50. That's fantastic. Okay. I have a comment on that in a second, but Kirsten's saying it would be easy to make a rug similar to this, and it's out of copyright. Yes. No, it's not out of copyright, because he started collecting these rugs, I think, in the 1970s or 80s, and they were making them then. So in the 1980s, they were still making these rugs. Now, it's hard to say, right? It's hard to say, because is a rug that is all hit or miss with 2 chickens under copyright? I mean, I would honestly have to say, if I was the judge and jury, a rug with 2 chickens is not under copyright with a striped background. And I say that because they did a ton of 2 chickens on a striped background rug, and every time their chickens were different colors, right? I mean, and the stripes were different colors. So it's a hard question, because this is such a general rug. It would be an easy rug to make. And I'm going to say it, I can't imagine it would be a problem to do a rug with 2 chickens on a striped hit or miss background. It's been done before. They were definitely not the first to do it. And even with a similar color scheme, they'd made so many of each design, and they were not always the same color scheme. These are truly hit or miss rugs. I don't think it would be an issue at all. And yes, it would be very easy to do. So Kathleen, thank you for telling us this rug sold for $5.50. Now, why is that interesting? It's interesting because of what I was just saying, right? If it weren't, the reason this rug sold for $5.50 is because it's a Gagetown rug, right? So that means something to at least 2 people right now, that at least they were bidding against each other to get as high as $5.50. At least 2 people in this world know what a Gagetown rug is, and both want it because it's a Gagetown rug. they can't possibly want this rug because it's two chickens on a straight background, right? I think we can eliminate that. They want it because it's a Gagetown rug. So wherever that's coming from, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to take credit for that. But it does mean that my statement 5 seconds ago is maybe not true. People might now know what Gagetown rugs are, right? That's the problem with the internet. It's also a good thing because these rugs are being celebrated. Kathleen, let me know if you can see the price on this guy. Gagetown Pictorial Hooked Rug, again, same title. Exactly. It's cut and paste for all of these except a different size, 31 by 41. Estimate was 500 to 700. And the starting price was, again, well, this time the starting price was 250. Now, I mean, it's a hair bigger. I gotta say, I don't find this rug as, I know it's a sheep and we like a sheep subject. I remember saying when we covered this actual rug that it was funny that the sheep was kind of off center and his ear was touching the border. Like that would be considered a flaw. And yet this rug was priced quite high, starting price 250. So, and otherwise everything was cut and pasted the same. So this is interesting to me because it seems to me like the auction house is pricing them according to square footage or inches, and maybe not taking into regard subject material and the complexity of the design, because this is a straight up geometric with like one motif in the center. And if you like sheep, then this is maybe more compelling than the two chickens. But I don't know. I don't think that they're $100 apart. Okay, thank you, Kathleen. My God, thank you. $375. So people felt the same way about this piece with the estimate of 500 to 700. This one's selling at 375. 375 is still a lot for this rug. If this was not a Gagetown rug, you know that you'd be seeing, if this was not a Gagetown rug, you'd be seeing this in an antique store under somebody's boots for $75, $85, right? Maybe even $45 if it's here in New England. So Gagetown is what's selling it. Maybe Gagetown is the next Grenfell. I don't know. The good thing, okay, the problem with Gagetown is that they did so many of each pattern, right? It becomes like Claire Murray. They're not commercially made the way that Claire Murray's eventually were made. Not initially. She hooked them initially, but eventually they were sort of mass produced somewhere else. They were still handmade, but you know, somewhere else in factory situation. And so there's more of these, right? When, according to the book, if I remember right, Larry would say, okay, the chickens are selling really good. Give me some more chickens. And they would give him some more chickens and he would sell them. So that made a lot of chickens, right? Give me the girl with the balloon. Oh, don't give me any more of the girl with the balloon. Those aren't selling that well. So, you know, it was a supply and demand thing. And since he was their one like point of contact, right? He was the go-between, right? Who was selling them, and he had buyers for them, and he knew that. That's why he kept going up and buying them and picking them up. And they developed a great friendship and all that. So the negative side of it is, and Larry said in the book, like he wasn't sure how many of the rugs were out there. He doesn't know how many of the rugs were made before they started working for him, because when they started working for him, again, if I remember correctly, they didn't do any other work at that point, which was sad, because I remember saying, wouldn't it be a shame if you were a hooker in those days and you went to Gagetown and there are these hookers there who make all these rugs and you can't buy them because they're all spoken for. I remember saying that. And I agree. I think that's a weird situation, but that's the problem. I think is that the good thing about these Gagetown rugs is we know who made them, and there's a beautiful story attached to it. And they're new. Like in terms of interest, they're new. Like it's interesting to collect them. It's like they're, you know, people haven't been saying all along like, oh, what about those Gagetown rugs? They've been saying, what about those Grenfell rugs? Or what about those Hutchinson rugs? Or what about those Magdalena rugs? But not what about those Gagetown rugs? So they're new and they're exciting and they're interesting, and it's kind of like fresh blood, right? People jump on it. But at the same time, as time goes on, it's hard to tell, because what could happen is that so many emerge of the same pattern that people get Claire Murray'd out. You know what I mean? Like we've seen enough whales spouting between village greens. You know what I mean? Yeah. You come back to say hi.
Yeah.
Here he comes. He come back
Hi.
to say hi. My
Hi.
man. We're talking here, Teddy. Look at this rug we're talking about. What do you think of this guy?
Huh? Oh, that's a sheep.
Oh, that sure is a sheep.
That's the sheepest sheep.
That's a super sheepy sheep.
Uh-huh,
Sure is.
That's a sheep.
I think we might even be able to see the reverse of the sheep. Oh my God, look at this.
Oh, is that what the original one looks like?
This is the original, but this is the back of it. So
sheepy.
this is the what's called the working side. He's a cute sheepy. Are you guys having fun?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
fun.
awesome.
You've been on for almost 2 hours?
Almost, yeah. I'm going to keep going.
That's pretty tough.
No, this is my Friday night, babe. This is what I do on Fridays.
Oh, no, that's a good thing.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay, translation. Your buddies are saying hi to you, Ted.
Thank you.
Translation, tough means very good. Tough is very good. Tough is not tough. Tough is very good. I just dropped all of my papers. Hang on, let me grab them. And let's keep Gagetown-ing. Okay, they're all out of order. And man, it's hard to bend down. Oh, okay. So, yeah, let's keep going with Gagetown. All right, Catherine, not to put you on the spot. Okay, so let's see. I think there is some... Thanks, Doris. Sweetie. I think his friend is probably on his computer or doing something because he keeps wandering in here to see us. All right, let's see. Okay, hey, guess what? More chickens. So same, everything's the same. Everything's the same as the first one. I think this one is also 21 by 38. So Gagetown, pictorial, same thing. All the same thing, cut and pasted. So another beauty, and it is a beauty. Sorry, I'm just organizing my papers. There we go. It is a beauty. And in fact, this does not have a hit or miss background. I have to say this has a lot going for it, even if this was not a Gagetown. Oh, Ruth, good to see you. Oh, great to see you. Hi to Richard, too. Oh, 500. Okay, thank you. Gosh, that, I think that's great. I didn't write down the estimate for this. Can you see that too, Kathleen? I just wrote down same. So I'm wondering if the estimate was also, wait a minute, 300 to 400 and starting at 150. This one is exceptional. And I remember we made, oh, that's sweet. I remember we made quite a big deal out of this one because, okay, great. Thank you so much. 300 to 400. So this one sold for 500. So again, it sold a full 100 over the top price. I really love the struggles. I know. It's so, this one is quite good. So not that the others aren't good, but this one, we've got 2 chickens. There is an attempt at a composition here. They're not just facing each other like bookends, right? They are placed. One is placed on higher ground, the other a little bit lower. There's a house with a very inviting path and smoke coming out of the chimney. There's 2 flowers. It is extremely folky. Just the placement of the flowers, the flatness of the thing. This one, however, has a lot of interest. The birds being on one side, right? That cloud that really complements the shape of the 2 chickens. One is completely under the silhouette of it, almost like it's mountains, but I think it's clouds. The other emerging just over it. While there's no great attempt at perspective here, it does give you the sense that they are in 2 different places on the lawn. It's a remarkably pretty piece, I think. Color-wise, it's very cohesive. I love the mix of the warm greens and the bronzy greens in the grass. And I love all this tweediness, right? There's 2 different tweeds that match perfectly. It really is a good piece. So I'm not surprised that this one sold well as well because it's good. Gagetown or not Gagetown, when you are making an investment like this, and this is the reverse, you want to like it too. It's one, it depends on what you're like and how you feel. But, if I'm going to buy something because I collect, for example, pincushion dolls, I'm not going to buy any pincushion doll. I'm going to buy the German ones. I'm going to buy the ones that I think are the prettiest and have the best painting on them. It's the same thing with rugs. It's like if all you want is to own a Gagetown, then you would bid on all of them. But there's going to be fierce competition. There's fierce competition anyway. But there's going to be really fierce competition over the ones that are actually quite pretty. Now, this one only had 1 photograph, which I thought was really super stupid planning. You need a photograph of the front and back at least. So let's see. Feel of red. Corner brackets. Okay. Oh, okay. Interesting. This one's confusing. I'm wondering if I'm looking at the right one. Gagetown Pictorial Hooked Rug. Since they're all calls that doesn't really help. It looks like this one says double thickness mat of a fat sheep. No, this isn't it. That was the other one. Hold on, wait a minute. Gagetown. Oh, okay, here we are. Okay, 36 by 47, estimate 300 to 450. Starting price 175. Thank you, Kathleen. This sold for 550. Okay, so again, a full 100, reliably 100 over the top end. Isn't that interesting? It is like it's like mathematical, right? It's like it's exactly 100 every time over. Lion and lioness under tree with bird, diamond border from the estate of Larry and Jean Dubourg. Okay, so this is interesting because a couple of things going on here. This is really unusual. It seems to be like a bit of a take on Peaceable Kingdom, right? The subject of like a peaceable kingdom. Some of the things that I think are really cool. It has a sense of exotica that the Gagetown rugs just don't have. So that's really curious. It also seems to be a lot thinner than the other Gagetown rugs. You see how it's just buckling everywhere? It seems to have been scrubbed or something's happened that has made it so thin. It doesn't look threadbare, but it looks very, very thin. To me, that would be a bit of a worry. At the same time, this is a super rare design, right? I mean, I don't know that, I can't remember from the book, but I don't know that this has ever been done again. This is not a popular motif. It might be one that took too long. Remember, they said like if stuff takes too long, they wouldn't do it again because it's about volume, right? For Gagetown, it was about volume. It was two husband and wife doing it, and they moved as fast as they could. I remember one designed and I think she designed and gave the colors and he hooked. I think it was. I feel like that's what it was. But in any case, if a pattern was too complicated, fussy, or time-consuming, it would not be repeated. So I feel like this might be one of them. It is absolutely dear. It is charming. The design is very exotic, right? Because they were in Maine. This doesn't strike me as a Maine design. This strikes me as a take on a Peaceful Kingdom or a tapestry or Jacobean crewel work, something like that. But there is a level of exotica in here that is not like homegrown Maine. So in that way, it makes it interesting. That's a good price. $550 is a good price for that because in my mind, and particularly with the one photograph, right, super helpful. In my mind, I'd be really worried about condition because we're not seeing a close-up. All these photos are pretty low quality, right? When you make them big, you can't really see. And this one has some stuff going on around the edges. Kirsten says, to its credit, the faces of the lions are wonderful. They are. And that's what reminds me of Peaceable Kingdom. Those big wide eyes like, blue, like something is wrong. Something's wrong somewhere. But yeah, the faces are very humanized faces, aren't they? They're not very feline faces. But it's a masterpiece of stylization. It's a very cool composition. I would love to Google Lens this. Let me do it right now. I want to Google Lens this and see if another piece of art comes up. I'm curious because it just doesn't seem like very Gagetown-y. You know what I mean? I'm just doing a Google Lens search and seeing. Okay, that auction came up. Just checking to see if it's like a direct copy. Oh, guess what? I found it. It is copied from another rug. Here, let's come over here. An antique store called Lewis and Clark Rug. This is from a Facebook page. I'm going to show it to you on my phone. That's called Lewis and Clark Rugs. I don't know if this is an old rug or a new rug. It looks like a newer rug, but it's not the same composition. Wait for it. Ooh, wait for it to come into focus. It's definitely based on this, without a doubt. It's just put into, and you see, look at the two little plants coming up in the middle, like hands, the one that look like hands in the middle. It's definitely based on these. Now look at this again, and look at the little same plants coming up under the bodies of the two lions. It's that same little plant reaching up. It's like somebody saw, it's like they saw the design of the other rug. I'm guessing it's an antique rug, and did their own take on it, more welcome mat size, because they only work in this size. He looks like he does. He looks like the cowardly lion, doesn't he? Aww. He does look like that. What a little sweetie. It does look thin. Yeah, Ruth, it really does. I'd really be worried about it. I don't know if these auctions happen in person too or what. It's a lot of money to spend without being able to see the back of it. But it is unusual. And maybe there's more to that rug than I know, or that was in the book, right? I mean, the book is kind of the definitive on the entire story of these rugs. This is another, I think, really cool one. Very different. So this one started at $250. Gagetown. I'm not even going to read the title because it's cut and paste. The description, it's 31 by 41. The description said, gray horse on a pink field. I'm not seeing the pink, but okay. To me, it looks like tan or camel, surrounded by abstract red and white flowers from the estate of Larry and Jean Dubourg. So this is another beauty. It's so odd. I like it for its weirdness. I love this little stout horse. It looks like a young horse. I thought it was a donkey at first, but I think it looks like a horse. Done with that textured material that they love to use. Really charming. Funny motif. Nothing is grounded, just kind of... Kathleen, I'm trying to see if that was for the last rug or this rug. My brain didn't clock it. I think that was the last rug. The fact that these flowers are coming out of the ground on these sort of brown little mounds, I think is really charming. And the fact that they're all enormous and kind of fencing in this little horse, it's a really cool design. Things I would worry, I mean, it's a cool design. I feel like it's another design that doesn't have a lot of repeats or twins out there. It doesn't have a doppelganger out there in the rug world. It may, but I don't feel like this is a popular rug. I know I haven't seen it before. Thank you, Kathleen. The horse is $500 to $700 estimate, and it sold for $550. So this one broke the mold and sold for under the low end, but it didn't even sell for the. I mean, that's a lot. $700 high end. I'm wondering if we saw the back of this one too. No, it might be that there's a photo of the reverse and I didn't put it in because the show was getting really big. I would be worried with this rug about the background. It doesn't look dirty to me, but the fact that it's described as pink and to me it looks brown, I'd be wondering whether I understood what the colors were at all on this rug. It's a great design. That's the thing. It has a lot of folky charm. It's a funny design. It's humorous in how sort of disproportionate and what a kind of jumble mess everything is. It is charming. $550. These are some good prices. Like, these are some high prices. We rarely see these kinds of prices for rugs right now. So this is exciting. This is a turning point. It feels like. I don't mean it for hooked rugs in general. I mean, the Gagetown rugs are getting some traction. So it's good for us to be looking at them again because, hey, if you see them at an antique store, you see it for $50, you know it's worth 10 times that much. Looks like pink beige, Ruth. Okay, it looks totally, maybe there's something wrong with my eyeballs. I think there is. Totally looks brown to me, but it could be, it could be a little bit pinky beige. This one's really cute too. This is naive as well. To me, okay, let's first look at the text and then I'll give you my opinion of it. Not that it matters to anyone. I think this one, the estimate, this is 22 by 39. The estimate was $300 to $450. Kathleen, tell me if I'm wrong. And it started at $150. It had 18 watchers, so a lot of people were interested in this one. I'm curious about, I'm going to guess that this one sold for, the estimate was $450. I'm going to guess that this one sold for $450. I should probably guess $550 because most are going $100 over. But the thing about this one that strikes me as a problem is that the thing about the, oh, Diane, good to see you. Horse with Boy, estimate $300 to $450, sold for $275. Okay, so I was on the right track with thinking this would be a problem. Thank you. The problem with this in my mind is the whole point of the Gagetown rugs is that they're super primitive. With this one, they're trying to make a departure and it's less primitive. They're trying to sculpt the horse and give more detail to the boy. And while it's a very simple composition, right, a very simple bit of storytelling and very sweet, they are doing something different with form and they are getting away from their primitive look. If 99% of the Gagetown rugs are primitive and there's a couple that are like this that have more of a sketchbook quality to them, I don't think that's good. It's just like with the Grenfells. When you see the Grenfells and you're used to seeing the subjects like the seals and the dog teams and the polar bears, and you see one and it's like a vase of flowers. It's like Sesame Street. One of these kids is doing their own thing, right? And three of them are the firemen, and then one of them is the policeman. The policeman is wrong. People don't want that one. It's the one that doesn't fit, right? And I think that's the problem with this piece is it's got a sweet story. They're showing the back on this one too. It has a sweet story, um, but I think it doesn't feel like a Gagetown rug. And if you're collecting Gagetown rugs, you want something that feels like a signature Gagetown rug. I would also say, just on a side note, and it's my personal opinion, nothing to do with the fact that the color is better on the back. I feel like the composition works better in reverse. When I look at this composition versus this composition, I think this composition is stronger. And the reason why is because the boy strikes me as way more, like his posture is much stronger and statuesque. Like he's more solid. And somehow, because we are from the Western world, um, we read left to right. Somehow we're looking at it, and he's leaning in the wrong way, right? He's leaning in the wrong way, and it creates a kind of tension, an interest. Like he's very solid, the horse, but he's leaning in toward the way that your eye is coming into the composition, and I think it creates just more drama. It just seems like a better composition to me this way, but the way that they chose to execute it was this way, which is cute, but it somehow gives the horse the lead, whereas in this composition, to me, the boy is the main character. So it doesn't matter, makes no difference. I think the fact that it doesn't look like a Gagetown is the biggest problem that piece had at that auction. It could also be that people kind of trying to think of a not dirty way to say this, they used all their fire, right? They were buying wildly, they spent a lot of money, they bid, they won, and all of a sudden we're getting to some of the later Gagetowns, maybe, and they've already, shot it. So they don't have any more money to spend. It could always be that. Or it could be that some of these points that I'm making are viable points. I don't know, because I can't possibly know what the buyers were thinking. I'm trying to find this one here. Okay, so I think this one had, oh, Kathleen, I didn't write anything about this one other than the title and 18 watchers. There were 18 watchers on most. It's obviously the same 18 people were excited about this auction, which is great. That's great news. And I think this one had an estimate of 300 to 450, and that it started at 150. I'm not sure because, again, the title is Gagetown Pictorial Hook Drug, New Brunswick, Canada. Fantastic. So estimate, okay, yep, this is the one. So yeah, estimate thank you, Kathleen, 350 to 300 to 450, sold for 325. And again, same thing. I think the problem with this again, right? And it's got to be, right? It's got to be. It does not look like a Gagetown rug. It's not the style that they're known for. This is another composition that's very fussy, right? It's a different style altogether. Is it sweet? It's adorable. Is it super stylized and charming? It really is so stylized and charming. I think this is my favorite of the Gagetown rugs personally. But if I'm looking to collect, and that's why I'm spending money, this does not look like a Gagetown rug in any universe. And the brackets at the corner, like none of this looks like Gagetown. It is. Of course, they were experimenting. They made a lot of rugs in this course of a few years. So they're experimenting and mixing it up and keeping themselves interested and invested in the work. So it does look different. It looks faded. I don't know if there's a back on this one. Yep, so that's the reverse on this one. So it's not as faded as I thought, because yeah, if it looks like this on, no, it can still be faded if it's been washed 100 times. It looks like there's a giant stain in the sky. So it probably has been washed tons of times. Judy says the trees and grasses are really cool on this one, almost like a Japanese feel. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is striking about this, particularly for me, the rust color. I don't know what's going on with the rust color, but it is so cool. Those like scribbles. It's almost like someone was frustrated because their daughter came onto their live show and dropped the F-bomb and just started scribbling wildly. And they managed to capture that. The scribble energy to me reads as, when you're taking a walk in winter and you walk by bushes and it's like everything's white, but there's just a tangle of little branches and stuff. It feels like that. It feels like everything's all the small bushes and stuff are knotted up. It's a cool effect. The fences are so screwy, right? Really, fences and trees together, really screwy, but it does add some charm that is just, I mean, honestly, for $325, I think I would have bought this piece. I don't follow these auctions because I know I get myself really wound up and nervous, and I get into scarcity mode, and I do impulse stuff, and then I regret it afterward. And I really don't have the money right now with the moving and everything, so I try not to get invested in these. I'm always afraid about what shipping will cost and stuff too, because you can't really know for sure. But if I had more money, right, if I was just like more of a grown up, and I was just more comfortable in general, I'd say like, oh well, if it's more than I think, whatever, I really want it. If any of all of these that we're looking at tonight, I think this would be the one that I would say that about, because it really is. It has a lot going on that's really charming. It does make me wonder, are there more of this one? I mean, I kind of doubt it. It doesn't, as much as I love it for its weirdness, it doesn't strike me as a super successful composition. It does have a bit of a Maine/Vermont feel, but it doesn't look like a Gagetown rug, and that's going to be a problem. Now, this doesn't look like a Gagetown rug. We know that it is because it was in the book. So this one, I think, had an estimate of 300 to 450. I think Kathleen will confirm. Yeah, I think, and it started at 150 like the others. There's 9 bidders in here, 9 different bidders. So that's good information too, because in general we have 18 watchers and 9 bidders. That means 50%. How many things do you watch? How many things are in your eBay cart right now or in your liked list? It's probably like 300, isn't it? I know you. It's like, has she been on my computer? No, but I know you. And I'm the same. Etsy, eBay, I have all of these ridiculous lists, Facebook Marketplace. And to be honest, I don't really intend to buy any of this stuff. Maybe 1 or 2 things I'm kind of saving up for, but they might go before I get them. So I'm not like, my heart isn't locked on, getting them for sure. If I was going to get them, I had to have them. I would have figured out a way to have them, right? So I'm kind of sitting on them. And that's how most people, I think, shop and bid. But in this case, 50% of the people who are watching are actually trying to spend money. Now, that is really unusual, isn't it? I'm going to wait for Kathleen to tell us about this piece. This is another piece that isn't classic Gagetown, but I gotta say, at least we're back. Okay, so wait a minute. I'm going to do a guess. 300, you guess too. 300 to 450 is the estimate. I'm going to say this one. I'm going to say 450 for this one. Oh, I'm way off here. Oh no, that was the last one. Kathleen, is that this one? Did that just pop up? 300 to 450, 250. I think that one just popped up. I blinked and I couldn't tell if that was a new message or not. I think so. I gotta say I'm surprised. This does not have the country subject. Yes, okay, thank you so much. The country subjects are seeming to do the best here, right? Either that or people ran out of money, right? And these rugs came at the end of the auction. It could be either one. But my thought is that country rugs from New England that look like country rugs that are super primitive are the rugs that sold for the most money. And that's how it went down. So interesting. This is not a country themed rug, but at least with this rug, it is a primitive rug, right? It's got all kinds of problems going on. Like she's like one of those paper doll books with the paper flaps where the legs aren't aligned with the body. It's got a folk art feel to it that is undeniable. So we're back to the very flat folk art. I think that is in favor of this rug. I think and I think the autumn setting is in favor of this rug. And I think the presence of the tweedy material, the patterned wool is in favor for this rug. But I think not in favor for this rug is the subject. It's not the straight up country subject. And I think the rug suffers for that reason. I'm going to make this the last rug, so we don't do an extra hour today. But I really like this rug. I think in it she loses a balloon. And I remember saying on the live show when we looked at this that I thought it was a real problem that there was a black border on it, because the black border, um, the only thing it's really doing, if the story is she's sad because she lost that top balloon and we can only see half of the top balloon, that's kind of a problem. The balloon is cut off and a hair of the tree is cut off. But I feel like, why are they cut off? Like, we kind of need to see it, right? That is, yeah, that's it. For me, that's important. Otherwise, I mean, the dog is a lump, right? Um, it's not perfect, but I think seeing the autumn leaves on the ground and seeing how folky this piece is, I feel like it would have done a little bit better. So what this, I'm going to stop there, is because we have content for Monday morning, and on Monday morning I'm going to have a lot more content, because in the meantime I will have gone to the Adirondack Fiber Festival. If you are going, please let me know. I will be there, and I would love to get together. Sharon, I can't wait to see you. Kirsten, I can't wait to see you. If anyone else is going, please let me know. I would love to get together and link up tomorrow and do a little shopping together and take some photos and stop and have a drink or something to eat together. I would love that. So please be in touch if you're going to be there. And that does mean that on Monday I will have some photos and some info. I'm going to finish this conversation, but I want to show you also, I think I'm going to finish this conversation. I want to show you the festival, the Adirondack Festival. It's important to look at the different stalls and see what people are selling. That's how we know what's out there, what our choices are. That's how we know what the new trends are. There are trends in fiber art. It's more obvious, I think, to knitters than it is to rug hookers, but they exist. Colors, materials, people bringing new stuff with them. It's interesting to try to track it. And it's a regional thing too, so it's interesting to know what will be in New York in the Adirondacks tomorrow as opposed to the next month on the other side of New York and at the big Rhinebeck one, or the one in Springfield, Mass. Thanks, Sharon. I'm hoping things go well. I started to feel this afternoon like my car was making a weird noise when I braked. Probably wasn't. I always have the radio or an audio book on, and I didn't. And then I started thinking, oh, is that a noise that my car is making? There's so many. But then I thought, ooh, my driveway is so steep. Every time I come and go out of it, kind of scrape a little bit. And I think, what's under there that I'm scraping? I know it's like probably the muffler. It's probably the front of the car. But what else is under there? It's not the engine. Like, the engine's not under there. But is there something else under there that's about to fall off, like the brake pads? I'm just going to let it go because the car drives great, and I think it might be in my mind. We'll hope for the best. I hope to travel there quickly, safely, without any incidents. No news is good news. It was fun being together tonight. I really loved it. Again, I apologize for the beginning. Yeah, I'll go talk to her now. But again, I'm not going to crucify her. I know I've said that word plenty today alone, to be honest. But still, she's a child. I'll let you know how it goes tomorrow. And I'm going to try not to buy a lot of stuff because I just shouldn't. But if there's some stuff there, you want to know what I'm looking for tomorrow? I'm looking for bat, because I love to hook with bat. I'm looking for unusual bats that are pretty well combed. I don't want the hot mess ones, right? I don't need like anything that looks like a pubic anything, right? I want like nice and combed and silky that's going to hook really nice. I want that. And any kind of pencil roving, right? Anything dyed or undyed. I love the pencil roving. Wool, obviously, if there's any rug hooking stalls, I check out other people's wool. I love to buy other people's wool. I just feel like I'm getting away with something when I hook with other people's wool. It feels like such a treat. I love my wool too, of course, but it's just fun to use other people's stuff. And Oh, natural dyes. I'm looking for some natural dyes, and I'm looking for any color that I would classify as antique black. Because remember the other day I was saying we should really have more conversations on antique black, like what it is, what it looks like. There's a lot of things it can look like. Let's look at some examples of antique black. I really want to do something on antique black. So I'm going to be looking for either dye that might make like a grayish black, or other people's yarns or wools that might be an antique black. Now, I told you what I'm looking for, and I can almost guarantee that when I show up on Monday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to show you a bunch of stuff that doesn't fit any of those categories, because I'm going to see things that I didn't even think of, that I didn't even know that I needed. And that's the great thing about these festivals, that 'tis the season, right, for the fall festivals and the fiber festivals. So yeah, I will. I'll try to take a video if I can there, if it's possible. I haven't been there before, so I don't know what it's like. But I'll definitely take photographs and stuff like that. I'll try to do a video and loop you in if I can tomorrow, like right around the time that I'm there. Sharon, if you'll come on with me and say hi for a second, that would be fun. No pressure. Maybe we can at least take a picture. And anyone else who I can link up with. But I will cover that tomorrow. And of course, it's going on Sunday as well. I think on Sunday I'm going to go to the Big E, the big exposition in Springfield, Massachusetts. Remember, I judged the Big E a couple of weeks ago, and now it's open. I might do that on Sunday after church, because I know you're thinking church, and I'm stopping, and my daughter with that mouth. But yes, I think I'm going to do the Big E because I like to go more toward evening, so I don't actually crisp cook and get cancer like in one afternoon from like the crazy sun. I like to go when it's like cooling off a little bit. But I do want to take pictures of the rugs, the way that they've positioned them after the judging. So I hope to do that on Sunday. And if you're going to go to the Big E, send me a message. I'll be there later in the afternoon. But if you're going to be there tomorrow, Sunday, I'd love to see you there. Adirondack is both days. Big E is 7 days a week for, I think, the next 2 weeks. So hop on board. Let me know what's going on in your neck of the woods with festivals and fun. I feel like an octopus that wants to reach out to all of the different places and travel as far as I can. That little taste of solder and driving those 17 hours to get there made me think, I can drive places and visit fun stuff. As long as the car doesn't make any more noises, I can do it. So let me know what's going on in your area too, so we can advertise those great festivals as well. It's great looking at these rugs tonight. We will finish this episode. We're done with the Gagetown rugs, but we'll finish this episode either Monday or Wednesday, depending on how much content comes out of tomorrow. Kirsten, I will see you at the crack of dawn, or at least at 10 a.m. when I get there. Sharon, you too. Everybody have a great weekend. And I'll look forward to seeing you on Monday at 11.